ITA Airways has launched its first ever direct flight between New Delhi and Rome. Passengers were also treated to a toast to celebrate the new direct service connecting the capitals of Italy and India. The new route will operate 3 times a week. The ITA Airways aims to expand its network in Asia and bringing more Indian passengers to
It's a joy today, of course, opening these routes that for us, Delhi represent our 8th routes of the year, intercontinental year. So it's very strategic for the relationship between Italy and India, and also cause increase the connectivity for the Indian travelers.
3 students were arrested and contraband was recovered after a rave party in Hyderabad was busted by the police. The Hyderabad police received a tip-off about nuisance being created by a group of youngsters during a birthday party in the wee hours of the morning. The police raided the area and recovered 50 grams of cannabis. 3 people were killed on the spot in a tragic road accident in Telangana's village. The accident took place at National Highway 44 due to rash driving and negligence. The deceased were from the same family and have been identified as Gopal, his wife Anjali and daughter Swati. They were on a bike and were hit by a truck.
Driver of vehicle, drove his vehicle rash and negligence manner and dashed into one trailer vehicle and also crashed to the bike driving riders Gopal and his wife Anjali, their daughter Swati. All of them are spotted and we have taken the into custody as a vehicle and investigation will be known.
A minor girl was molested outside of her house by an unidentified miscreant in Gwalior. The accused approached the child by asking for an address and suddenly attacked the girl. When the girl screamed for the help, the miscreant fled the scene on a scooty. The entire accident was captured on a CCTV camera. Investigation is under. 6 people lost their lives after a 5-story building collapsed due to a gas explosion in Siberia. Authorities fear some residents may still be trapped under the rubble. 52 residents have been evacuated from the building, and rescuers and firefighters are continuing their rescue operations at the site. It's a wrap from my side. My colleague Poonam joins you with The Nation at 5. Thank you for watching.
Good evening, hello and welcome. You're watching CNN News 18. This is Nation at 5 with me, Poonam Burde. In a short while from now, the Prime Minister is going to be chairing a key meeting of all chief ministers and heads of all parties in this country. It is to finalize the strategy for the G20 summit and for all the events that India is going to be hosting as the chair of the G20. Prime Minister will be chairing that meeting in just a few minutes from now. Presidents of nearly 40 political parties have been invited. Chief Ministers of Andhra Pradesh, Odisha, Tamil Nadu and West Bengal have confirmed their attendance. This also comes at a time when the first G20 Sherpa meeting is underway in Udaipur. It's a 4-day meeting that is underway and it is being chaired primarily by India's G20 Sherpa, Amitabh Kant. In his opening statement, he highlighted India's responsibility in being the voice of the global south. He also met with other Troika Sherpas comprising of Brazil and Indonesia. Meanwhile, after the Congress, now politics has erupted from the TMC side over the G20 logo. Mamata Banerjee, just before she came into Delhi for this crucial meeting, accused the BJP of promoting its agenda over that of India with the logo.
So accelerated, inclusive and resilient growth, accelerating progress on SDGs, particularly health and education, green development, climate finance and life, technological transformation and digital public infrastructure, multilateral institutions for the 21st centuries and 3Fs, food, fuel and fertilizers, and women-led development. We have actually these working groups, and all these working groups are in many ways multi-sectoral. They are cross-cutting. They all lead to the same priorities.
लेकिन ये भी सच है कि कोई पॉलिटिकल पार्टी, हाँ, इट्स फैक्ट दैट कमल हमारा नेशनल फ्लावर भी है। तो जब नेशनल फ्लावर तो इलेक्शन कमीशन एक पार्टी को दे दिए जब, तो वो फ्लावर को यूज नहीं करके और भी नेशनल कितना चीज था। हमारा संभवतः नेशनल टाइगर था पहले, नेशनल चीफ जो चिन्ह था, अभी लायंस बना दिया, पिकॉक भी है, जो नेशनल एम्ब्लेम है, कितना चीज है। ये चीज को देखना चाहिए बिकॉज 20 कंट्रीज, if I don't raise, other will raise, but it is not a non-issue. It's an important issue, and I think they should think over the matter.
Now, in just a few minutes from now, the Prime Minister is going to be chairing that key meeting. It is being held at the Rashtrapati Bhavan, and we are expecting big wigs of all political parties, chief ministers as well of some of the non-BJP ruled states in attendance. So what is on agenda as far as this crucial meeting is concerned? We're given to understand that the first big issue is to evolve a political consensus on India's goals for the G20 year as it is, because we are the president until 2023. A detailed briefing on the role of all political party chiefs is going to be given by the centre side to all of those who are going to be in attendance. The External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar is expected to brief all the leaders on what the blueprint is going to be like. There are also suggestions that are going to be invited. They will be sought by the centre on how to take this India's G20 plan forward. That's another thing that's on agenda as far as today's crucial meeting goes. The centre also wants to build consensus on the preparations and objectives of the year-long event. So that's really what is on agenda as far as the crucial meeting is concerned. But India's G20 presidency has officially kicked off. The 4-day Sherpa meeting, the event has already begun. It is underway as we speak in Udaipur. The politics continues over that, but before we get into the politics, let's also speak of the significance of this. And joining me on this broadcast is BJP MP and spokesperson GVL Narasimha Rao. Arshpreet Singh Kadial, Congress spokesperson, joins us. TMC's Professor Manojit Mandal joins us, and two former ambassadors, two former diplomats, Manju Seth and Ambassador Suresh Goyal, also with me on this broadcast. And before we get into the politics of it, before we talk of what exactly transpired over the logo or right before this key meeting goes on, I want to get in the former diplomats on the panel. And Ambassador Goyal, this really is a key moment as far as India redefining a global order, so to say, because we've been talking of a global south in the last couple of months in the run-up to India taking over the presidency of G20. S. Jaishankar, External Affairs Minister, has also spoken of it. Today, India's G20 Sherpa, Amitabh Kant, also spoke of it. So as far as the hegemony of the West or the advanced economies is concerned, that is now being challenged, and India is at the forefront of that, and that is something that should be celebrated.
I think there are so many things that you have said in that one statement, and most of them really will need to be examined, and they are very, very important ones really that you have said. First of all, the presidentship or the chairmanship of G20, it's an important affair. After all, the president does drive the agenda for the G20 meeting, and Prime Minister Modi, in that sense, the written article which appeared in the Daily newspaper section a few days ago, and then Mr. Jaishankar, the External Affairs Minister, they both clearly defined what the agenda would be for Indian presidency of G20. I think we need to go over that very carefully. Whether that will actually redefine the global world or global order, that is something which we need to see, because after all these 20 countries which are members of G20, even though totally they do constitute 85% of the GDP. But the fact is that there are countries from the West here, there are developing countries here, and Mr. Jaishankar has said that Indian presidency will be an opportunity for us to really work on the South cooperation agenda for the promotion of the South as such. So therefore, while we will have our priorities, we will have our focus areas, there are countries which will have their other agenda also. So eventually, it is going to be a kind of a mix, a compromise, if you want to call it a compromise, but it is going to be adjustments of the agenda of different countries which are in the group. And that will really take quite a bit of compromises, quite a bit of negotiations. And for example, let me just mention security. security in Europe is going to be one of an important agenda driving the West. It may not be that important for us, but we will have to see how we actually adjust to each other. So it's going to be a very interesting 1 year henceforth. And today is actually the first meeting in that sense, which will be in that direction. Yes.
Absolutely. And like you said, as far as several issues are concerned, but the agenda is something that India is going to decide. It's also something that Amitabh Kant pointed out today in his opening statement, where he said we were often handed over the agendas, mostly that was set by advanced economies, mostly that was set by the Western countries. But now it's time where India could, be the bridge of the emerging economies, and we set the agenda. And that really would be the tone of the G20 year that we see from here on till 2023. And Manju said that really is what is important, isn't it? As far as India emerging on its own, India emerging as a global leader is concerned, yes, we're often hearing talk about it, but there are also several world leaders who've come out and not only congratulated India for taking over the presidency. We've had several of them come out and say how they're looking forward to working with the Prime Minister, to working with India, because they believe India can be that fulcrum of change, can be that bridge between the advanced world and the growing economies.
Absolutely, and that was very visible even at the G20 meeting when India's intervention was appreciated. And our theme for the year is G20 Presidency year is One Earth, One Family, One Future. So it is focusing on coming together, bringing everyone together. And since India has taken a fairly balanced and sort of so-called independent path or view, even during the Ukraine crisis, and it has shown the lead in the G20 in the climate change and tried and helped to resolve the G20 declaration as well. So its voice is now being recognized by the world, and I'm sure that during this year we will be able to shape the agenda and also convince sort of differing viewpoints to find a common ground and to see that this agenda for the year that India has, this very ambitious agenda for climate change, for security, for health, for climate and economic prosperity. And we have to take all differing views along with us. And I think India is well placed to do that, because now India's voice is recognized by the world.
Absolutely,
so
and
it
is
absolutely
it will be a showcase of what India has come to be. Yes, of course, it will be a showcase of what India has come to be, and that is something that, as a country, as all political parties, irrespective of ideology, should come together and celebrate. And that's perhaps the attempt that the Prime Minister is also making, that the centre is also making with this meeting that is just being held as we speak in a few minutes from now. In fact, that meeting will begin at the Rashtrapati Bhavan. But getting into the politics of it, and I want to get Professor Mandal on this. Professor Mandal, Mamata Banerjee was coming in for this particular meeting. The aim of this meeting by the centre, by the Prime Minister, is to build consensus, is to take suggestions from every party involved, because we here are a country as a whole. We're not our divided parts of political parties divided by ideologies. Why then should we reignite the conversation about the logo, and why is it that it is a lotus, which is symbolic of the BJP as well, and not just the national flower? Perhaps that could have been avoided, is what many would say.
We really do not have any issue with that. It could be an issue for some other political party. And we leave it to the Prime Minister and his wisdom to decide on the logo. We may have problems inside the country, but when it comes to representing the country at the world stage, for such an important, event, I think we really do not have much to say on this particular issue. We are not really protesting. But the fact remains that when you are, heading for, global consensus or global recognition, you also need to get certain things get certain facts right in your own country. On the one hand, you are talking about leadership, universal brotherhood, globalism, but the kind of politics that you play at your own home is also in a kind of regressively going towards what you can possibly call nativism. That, strange exclusionary politics that you are playing, it has to somehow stop. What the Prime Minister is doing, I think, is fantastic. He is talking to the political leaders, perhaps for the first time. Let me say this. First, for the first time, he's reaching out to all the political leaders. Doing other very important issues like COVID or other issues. I'm not really raising them at this point in time. But we are happy that at least now he has realized that he needs to take all the political parties on board. But as I mentioned, when it comes to foreign policies, representing India at the global stage is concerned, we are with the government, we are at the same page, but the government needs to introspect the kind of politics that they play inside. I mean, especially, let me tell you, the CAA, it's a very serious issue for other countries as well. The people are talking about this particular issue. People are raising about this, that the kind of exclusionary law that CAA is. NRC and CA, we need to really think about all these issues before representing ourselves really as a global leader. With all our arms extended to all communities and classes of people.
Right. So, GVL Narasimha Rao, it's a good thing that the Prime Minister is building consensus, that the centre is building consensus with all political parties, with all chief ministers of the state, because that's really the spirit of federalism. But there is room for improvements as the TMC. You also must speak of everything else or all the other objections that the opposition parties have been raising, because we are showcasing the country as a whole to the world.
Yeah, good evening to you, Poonam, and all the guests on the show and all the viewers. What the initiative that Honorable Prime Minister has taken to have a meeting with all the chief ministers, including CMs of all the opposition ruled states, all heads of various political parties, I think you can understand the kind of national consensus, and not just consensus, but a national participation. G20 being the presidency, holding the presidency of the G20 this year is a matter of great prestige for India. And we'll be able to influence the global agenda through the year of this presidency. We are going to have a large number of meetings that are going to be held around the country during this year. So we would certainly, the whole nation should present a united picture to the world. As far as my friend TMC friend's suggestion about internal politics, domestic politics will continue to play. We will have our differences. We cannot agree on everything. There are many things. Even COVID was politicized by many parties, many governments which are ruled by the opposition parties. But when it comes to matters of international diplomacy, when it comes to matters of setting agenda both for India's development and for influencing international developmental agenda, we need to present a united front. You need to present a united face. Today, entire world is looking at India with a great deal of respect and also some amount of awe, because they have not seen India battle the kind of COVID challenge or health challenges the way it did. For many decades in the past, India always was a laggard. Today, we have by vaccinating by giving more than 230 crore vaccine doses, we have literally insulated India from another possible wave of COVID.
Sure.
So the whole world is respecting that.
Absolutely.
And also
so
the manner
United
in
Front
which
needs
our
to be
economy.
Yes,
Just
the
one
United
more point.
Front needs to be
Just
put
one
forth.
more
Yes,
point.
yes, Divya.
One more point. The manner in which India today is the largest growing, India is the largest economy, which is the fastest growing economy in this year. Our Atmanirbhar package, which is entirely an initiative of Honorable Prime Minister, this economic policy worked better than any other countries in the wake of the COVID challenge.
Sure.
The whole world also is looking at India with a great deal of respect for that reason. So therefore, whatever we offer in the form of either solutions or in any advocacy that India
Absolutely. So it is India's moment in the sun. It is India's moment on a global stage, and we have to put up a united front. Today's meeting of the Prime Minister with all political parties is one step in that direction. I thank all my panelists for joining us here on this broadcast. I request GVL Narasimha Rao and Harshpreet Karyal to stay on with me, because we are now shifting focus to the other big event that is underway. In fact, polls have just closed for the second phase of polling in Gujarat. What's in store? Can BJP retain the edge? We'll get you more details from on ground.
गुजरात में फिर से डबल इंजन की भारतीय
Polling for the second phase of elections in Gujarat is just about over. Polls closed at 5 p.m. I believe all those who are still at polling booths are perhaps waiting to cast their vote. Prime Minister Modi greeted thousands of supporters this morning and he cast his vote as he is a voter of Gujarat in Ahmedabad. In fact, Union Home Minister Amit Shah as well, along with his family, cast his vote. Voting was held in 93 assembly seats across 14 central and northern districts of Gujarat. The final vote has been cast. The decision has been made by the people of Gujarat. There were over 800 candidates in fray, but who really has the edge? Remember, in 2017 assembly elections, the BJP had won 51 seats while the Congress won 39 seats in the two regions that go to polls today. But listen in to the appeal that came to the fore from all of the national leaders in Gujarat for voters to go out and vote in large numbers, especially after the Election Commission highlighted the urban apathy that we saw in the first phase where voting was not recorded at a high turnout.
लोकतंत्र का ये उत्सव गुजरात के, हिमाचल के और दिल्ली के मतदाताओं ने बहुत ही उत्साह और उमंग के साथ मनाया। मैं लोकतंत्र के उत्सव के लिए देश के नागरिकों का हृदय से अभिनंदन करता हूं, धन्यवाद करता हूं। मैं इलेक्शन कमीशन को भी हृदय से बहुत बहुत बधाई देता हूं कि उन्होंने बहुत ही शानदार तरीके से पूरे विश्व में भारत के लोकतंत्र की प्रतिष्ठा को बढ़े, इस प्रकार से चुनाव का संचालन करने की एक महान परंपरा विकसित की है और उसका एक उत्तम उदाहरण इस चुनाव में भी नजर आया। मैं इलेक्शन कमीशन का भी हृदय से अभिनंदन करता हूं।
फर्स्ट टाइम वोटर જેમને પહેલી વાર મતાધિકાર પ્રાપ્ત થયો છે એ સૌ યુવક યુવતીઓને વિનંતી કરું છું કે આપનો મત જરૂર આપો અને ગુજરાતના અઢી દાયકાની વિકાસ યાત્રાને આગળ વધારો। ગુજરાતનો વિકાસ એ ફક્ત ગુજરાતનો વિકાસ નથી, ગુજરાતના વિકાસના માધ્યમથી દેશના વિકાસ કરવાની ગુજરાતની પરંપરાને આપણે જાળવી રાખવાની છે। ગુજરાતના સૌ મતદાતાઓને હું વિનંતી કરું છું કે આ વિકાસના મોડેલને વધુ સુદૃઢ કરાવવા માટે તમારો મત જરૂર આપો।
आज गुजरात में लोकशाही का पर्व का उत्सव मनाया जा रहा है। प्रथम चरण के मतदान पूर्ण हो गए हैं। आज दूसरे चरण का मतदान शुरू हुआ है। सब गुजरात के मतदार आज दूसरे चरण में भी शांतिपूर्ण तरीके से सब इसमें भाग लेंगे और भारी मतदान करेंगे। ये दफ़ा हम भारतीय जनता पार्टी पुराने सारे रिकॉर्ड तोड़ के सारे नंबर से ये चुनाव भी हम जीते।
My colleagues are joining us from on ground in Gujarat. Arun Dhanta is live from the BJP office in Ahmedabad. Siddhant Mishra joins us from Ahmedabad as well. And Sharon, my colleague, joins us from Viramgam in Gujarat. And Sharon, I'd like to begin with you. What really has been the kind of turnout that we saw today? Because as far as the first phase turnout was concerned, it was 63%, much lesser than what we saw in 2012 and 2017. It also prompted the poll panel to actually come out and appeal to the voters that they must reverse this urban apathy.
Absolutely, and we have seen that the Election Commission has been calling the entire process, the first phase, as an urban apathy, saying that not much of a voter turnout has in fact been seen in first phase. Now, in the second phase, if you see, the voter turnout has in fact been an average of about 50%, which in itself is not that great, is what many experts would suggest, because last time also it was over 50% in the second phase. So why is it once again we are seeing a lower turnout? Right now, I am reporting reporting from Viramgam, which is the constituency from where Hardik Patel has in fact been contesting from here. And now after 5 p.m. the polling has in fact been stopped here completely. These are the people who have voted, and now let me go directly to them. आपने वोट कर लिया है, 5 बजे वोट बंद हो गया है. किस चीजों को मुद्दे नजर में रख के आप आज वोट करने आई हैं यहाँ पे?
हम यहाँ पे ये नजरअंदर करके आए कि हमारा स्थानिक नेता है और हार्दिक पटेल के ऊपर सबकी नजर होए कि वो विधानसभा से आएगा तो कुछ तो करेगा. तो ये सब मेरे साथ खड़े हैं, वो एक हिसाब से वोट करे कि हार्दिक पटेल हमारा विरमगाम का नेता है तो पूरे गुजरात का नेता बनने जा रहा है. इसके लिए सबने हार्दिक पटेल को वोट.
विरमगाम में हमेशा 2007 से 2012 में भी कांग्रेस ही जीतती आई है, तो इस बार क्या लगता है कुछ अलग होगा?
नहीं, भाजपा भी जीतेगी, भाजपा तो जीतेगी, फिर हार्दिक पटेल भी जीतने वाला है. अभी पूरे मैं बूथ में होके आई हूँ, सभी जगह एक ही चल रहा है कि हार्दिक पटेल को वोट, हार्दिक पटेल को वोट.
आपको क्या नजर में रखे आप आज वोट करने आए? क्या है समस्या विरमगाम की? है कोई समस्या है कि नहीं?
विरमगाम में फर्स्ट नंबर में वोट जीतेगा हार्दिक भाई पटेल. 20,000 ऊपर वोट जीतेगा.
So these are the people. आप बताइए क्या इश्यूज क्या है यहाँ पे? सबने बोला अपना कंटेंट, सबने बोला ये जीतेंगे वो जीतेंगे, लेकिन यहाँ पे कोई समस्या है कि नहीं विरमगाम में?
वैसे समस्या तो बहुत सारी है. पिछले 10 साल में कांग्रेस थी, लेकिन विकास के मुद्दे पर यहाँ जीरो है. क्या होता है कि गुजरात में है भाजपा होती है, फिर यहाँ कांग्रेस होती है, तो काम हो नहीं रहा. ठीक है, तो बहुत सारी इश्यू तो है, लेकिन एक उम्मीद है कि हार्दिक पटेल एक युवा है और हमारा दोस्त भी है, तो वो आके एक विरमगाम जो है उसका विकास करेगा.
Though this is in fact a semi-urban area, Viramgam and
are pinning their hope on Hardik Patel for the change that the BJP has been promising. Do stay on with me because Arun Thanta and Siddhant also join me on this broadcast. And Arun, what's the mood like at the BJP office? Polls have closed. What really is the sense that you are getting from people there?
Well, see, Poonam, in last 2 hours, we had seen efforts being made by Bharatiya Janata Party to reach out to every booth. And in fact, we had also reported that how the booth level management committees were in touch with the Panna Pramukh and other committees which were there on the ground for BJP to coordinate with the voters, to go to their places, go to their residences, and tell them about the importance of the voting and how crucial it is for BJP to have a larger chunk of voters at the polling booth. And in fact, in that regard, more than 50,000 calls were also made. Now, as we speak, the voting is already closed, and we are expecting BJP's Gujarat State Chief C.R. Patil to address a press conference which is slotted for 5:30, and then onwards we'll see perhaps other spokespersons of state BJP speaking on the exit polls. Remember that today, is a very important day because 93 seats of second phase had gone to polls, and importantly, central Gujarat and northern Gujarat. Northern Gujarat, why it is important? Because last time out of 32 seats, BJP could manage to win 11 seats, and this time around there is also a huge OBC factor. We are also, told that a strong OBC leader, cooperative leader, Vipul Chaudhary, was arrested in a case, in an alleged case, and therefore there is some upset amongst the voters there against the BJP. So we'll have to see as to how and in which way things transpire.
Absolutely. And Siddhant, this morning we saw Union Home Minister Amit Shah, the Prime Minister as well, while they were casting their vote. There were scores of people that were waiting to catch a glimpse of them, to speak to them. There were objections being raised over that as well. There were politics over that as well. The Congress, in fact, has gone to the Election Commission saying that the Prime Minister was not merely there to cast his vote, but it was a spectacle, it was a road show, and that has to be against the rules.
Well, yes. In fact, both Prime Minister and Amit Shah did appeal to people of Gujarat to come out in large number to vote. And in fact, Poonam, to be very honest, even during the run-up to the polls, the bigger challenge for BJP was to get their voters out of their homes, Because if you go and you will interact with BJP cadre, most of them have become complacent, because this is a thought in their mind that any which ways BJP is going to come to power. So with this thought, they don't come out to vote. So I was interacting with some senior leaders also here at the Kamlam office, and what they have been telling me is that that is the main target, to bring BJP voters to vote. And
sorry
this
to
is
interrupt you there, but we're just getting in some details of the voting percentage, the turnout really that has come out so far. We're given to understand that that stands about 67% in phase 2, which is a much better scenario as far as elections go in Gujarat. In the first phase, we had seen it was only 63%. In the second phase, we're given to understand that it's at 67% now. We're still awaiting a final word from the Election Commission. But Sharon, this definitely would give hope to all stakeholders there in Gujarat.
Absolutely, and we have seen that the appeal not just from the Election Commission, but the Prime Minister has also made the appeal to the youngsters, to women voters as well, to come in large numbers, because of course in the first phase we have seen how it was just around 63%, and this time it has only increased. In the second phase it is coming around 67%. So of course that is in fact a positive sign, because Election Commission has been saying that how this is becoming an concern not just in Gujarat but also in Himachal Pradesh, also in Delhi MCD, also elections as well, how the urban areas have been in fact seeing a very low voter turnout, and that is of course a concern. But it seems that it is in fact picking up, and when we talk about semi-urban and rural areas, of course people in large numbers are going and voting there. The voting centers, polling centers have now been shut down. 5 p.m. was the last time when one could go and cast their vote, and now this particular crowd that you're seeing is right outside the polling booth. Now they are, after casting their vote, coming out and discussing with each other that how, what are the issues on based on which they casted their vote. So of course this is something that we get to witness this every assembly elections and every Lok Sabha elections. This is the dance of democracy. This is the power of democracy.
Absolutely,
and
this democracy needs to be celebrated is also what all political parties, all politicians, including the Prime Minister this morning, have been speaking of. I thank all my colleagues for getting us the latest from on ground there. But who really has the edge in Gujarat, and is this this battle a precursor to what we are going to see in 2024? That's also something that we here on CNN News 18 will be analyzing. In fact, the exit polls numbers will be out from 6 o'clock onwards, where we will be getting you all the trends of projections that are being made as to which way Gujarat has voted. But GVL Narasimha Rao of the BJP is with me on this broadcast, and Ashpreet Karyal of the Congress as well will be joining us shortly. But GVL Narasimha Rao, the BJP has been in power for 27 years in the state. Over the last 2 or 3 elections, we've seen the seat tally for the BJP has been on a downward spiral. Do you think you can better that? Do you think you can beat anti-incumbency? Because the Modi magic, so to say, seems intact on ground.
Certainly, the last election was closely fought. It was more not on account of any governance issues, but there were some caste agitations that actually brought the BJP's tally down somewhat. But this election, the entire voting is happening on the basis of BJP's performance in both in the state and at the center. And Prime Minister Narendra Modi's superlative performance, his all-time high popularity, and a good performance by the BJP in the state, and active active work by the party cadres are all going to give a big victory to the BJP in this election. So we are not only confident of retaining power after 27 years in Gujarat, which will be a record of sorts, but this will also be with a bigger mandate than last time, much bigger mandate than last time. And even in regions where the BJP did not fare well last time around, like Saurashtra, Kutch region, the BJP will certainly improve its tally, almost double its seats. So this is an election where the BJP, which is in power, is not only experiencing pro-incumbency, it is the opposition that has actually failed in its performance as a viable party. The people are unhappy not with the government, they are unhappy with the opposition. It's a very unique case that you find in Gujarat.
Sure, and we'll discuss that further, GVL Narasimha Rao, because the people of Gujarat have decided. The final vote has been cast. It is in 3 days from now that we will know which way that goes. And I request you to stay on with us because our coverage here on the Gujarat elections will continue. But we'll be back after a short break. Don't go anywhere.
एक लिस्ट आई है 57 की, उस 57 ने हमें दिया है, ये 57 ही नहीं है, इसमें मैं समझू कल को हम पूरे इसमें हो सकते हैं। अभी उन्होंने 57 नहीं डाला, क्या पता कल उसमें मैं भी हूँगा जो लिस्ट में नहीं, कल को मार दिया। हम यहाँ बैठ के गवर्नमेंट से अपनी जान की भीख मांग रहे हैं। हम ये बोलते हैं हमें अटैच किया जाए, अटैच करके जब आपको हालात ठीक होंगे तो हम वापस चले जाएंगे। हम डर रहे हैं, वहाँ पे जान को खतरा है, तो हमारी जान को बख्शा जाए।
यही चीज समझाने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं गवर्नमेंट को 208 दिन से कि यहाँ पे बहुत ज्यादा हम लोग थ्रेट में हैं, हमारा पल पल थ्रेट में गुजर रहा है, हम वहाँ पे नहीं जा सकते, नहीं अपनी सर्विस दे सकते। हाँ, आप लोग क्या चाहते हैं? अब क्या ऐसी चीज आ जाएगी? मैसेकर होने चाहिए क्या? तब आप लोग मानोगे कि वहाँ के हालात खराब है, कश्मीर के हालात खराब हैं।
बड़ा चिंताजनक है। पहले से ही सरकार की तरफ से प्रयास तो किए गए हैं, लेकिन जो टारगेट किलिंग पहले भी होती रही, अब उसको फिर से निशाना बनाने की कोशिश की जा रही है। और खास करके लोगों के नाम देना ये अपने आप में बड़ा शर्मनाक है। तो मुझे लगता है कि बहुत बड़ी कार्रवाई करने की जरूरत है ताकि एक डर का माहौल वहां पर पैदा ना हो। पहले भी कुछ कश्मीरी पंडित को लेकर जो टारगेट किलिंग्स की गई हैं, तो मुझे लगता है इन सभी विषयों पर चिंता करना स्वाभाविक बात है और चिंता सरकार द्वारा की जानी चाहिए, सुरक्षा बलों द्वारा कड़े एक्शन लिए जाने चाहिए।
Let's break down the story for our viewers. Now, Lashkar-e-Toiba has released a list of 56 Kashmiri Pandits who are government employees, saying that they are on their possible target. This list, obviously for the Union Territory government, has been put out. This was put out by a social media handle being operated out of Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. That released that hit list of 56 Kashmiri Pandits. This is the very, very worrying statistics that we are talking about. Taking this across to my colleague Tejinder, who's now joining us on the broadcast. Tejinder, ever since this list has been put out by the social media handle, what really is being done on the ground so that the lives of these Pandits who are in constant threat, so to speak, can be dealt with and something can be done so that their fear can be assuaged?
See, the government has taken this list very seriously. They are trying to find out the people who actually released this official document to the terror outfit. This Kashmir Fight blog is being run by TRS, the Resistance Front, which is a frontal of the terror outfit Lashkar-e-Toiba. And if you remember, a couple of weeks ago, a similar threat was issued to journalists working in Kashmir. After that, the Srinagar police registered an FIR and raids were conducted at several locations across Kashmir Valley. So the government here is taking this threat very seriously. Right now, as we speak, the Kashmiri Pandits, they are holding a protest in Jammu, though the protest is going on for the past more than 200 days. These are the Kashmiri Pandits who have been working under the Prime Minister's rehabilitation package in Kashmir Valley, and they have been protesting in Jammu for past more than 200 days, ever since the Kashmiri Pandit Rahul Bhatt was gunned down by terrorists inside his Chadura office in Badgam district. So Kashmiri Pandits have been demanding that they should be relocated to safer places. But after this list has been released by the Kashmir Fights, the Kashmiri Pandits now say that it would be really difficult for them to return to Kashmir Valley and work there when they have to work under constant threat of being killed, because the Kashmir Fight blog has in its post has said that these 56 Kashmiri Pandits are on their target, and more such lists would be released in the coming days.
Mr. Sumit Peer, who is a political analyst, is joining us. Mr. Peer, that actually brings us to this next question. Is all of this that's being done in the name of providing securities to the Pandits, is it enough in the valley, considering these threats continue to rear their ugly head every now and then?
Grihaji, thank you very much for having me on your show. In fact, ma'am, the quantum of threat has increased. Because look, the new Pakistani army chief is ex-ISI and ex-military intelligence. It's a very unique combo. He, along with Nadeem Anjum, the existing ISI chief, remember when Nadeem Anjum came to his job, few Kashmiri Pandits were killed, he ordered targeted killings. I was predicting that the LOC will heat up and the Kashmir Valley will heat up. That is exactly what is the job of this man. Now, this Twitter handle, which talks about that the originates from POK, the origin of the Twitter handle is from POK, that brings to the conclusion that Pakistan is trying to wage a different quantum of war. Low cost, high targeted killings is what is on their issue, on the radar. And the biggest threat or the biggest person who carries the highest marks on his back is a Kashmiri Pandit. With this change scenario, the security of the Kashmiri Pandits in the valley will be very, very tough and challenging. It's better they will be moved to Jammu, to a safer place, because you cannot have 5 or 10 PSOs going around with 5,000 people.
Yes.
Well, that is not practically going to help. And this threat is real this time because there's a new man on the job. And he knows what exactly he is doing. You see, yesterday he chose to visit the Kashmir side of the border, not to the Afghanistan of the border, where a lot of trouble is brewing. And he was talking about Ghazi, Ghazwa-i-Hind, and he's some alim of Quran and some literate of Islamic scholars. And he says he believes he's from a clan which is a direct descendant from Prophet Muhammad. With all these things summing up, and we can see the impact of the new chief on the ground. The situation is not good. I think this threat is real. And if they've come up with the names, even if they're able to strike 1 or 2, that will be not a welcome step at all, and we have to prevent it in any way whatsoever.
Mr. Pandit, do you agree with Mr. Peer, considering we have a new army chief in Pakistan, and that's why this threat, an increased amount, and also the, the intensity of the threat has increased? Pretty much what happened in the 1990 is what Mr. Peer is talking about. Do you agree?
The threat has always been there, and it is up to them when to open the tap more and when not to. So there may have been different reasons at different times, but we are losing people. We are losing people there because there's a policy paralysis in Delhi. There's a policy paralysis in Kashmir. We have somehow decided to just wait out things and lose the initiative.
Welcome back. The people of Gujarat have decided. Polls have closed for the second phase of polling in Gujarat today, where 93 constituencies voted. But it is the end of polling. The last vote has been cast, and we are going to, of course, give you the projections of what exit polls are predicting. Whose win is it going to be? Whose edge is it going to be in Gujarat? Those numbers will be coming up in just a short while from now here on CNN News 18. But Arun Dhanta, my colleague, continues to get us the very latest from on ground there. And Arun, we are standing by for the BJP press conference there. They, of course, are going to be extremely hopeful of a historic return. 27 years in power, and they think they've beaten anti-incumbency. And how?
Well, see, one thing is very clear here, that BJP is confident that they are forming the government. But the fight here is to score high numbers, because that will send a completely different message altogether. Even in 2017, if you remember, BJP formed the government with 99 seats. And, Congress was getting a lot of applause that they, had restricted BJP below 100, which was in last 2 decades the lowest seat number of Bharatiya Janata Party. For this time around, victory is not the only thing for them. They are looking for the higher tally, and therefore, after the conclusion of first phase, we've been speaking to the BJP leaders. They were very confident. They were saying that don't go by the numbers, that the percentage is 63%. This time around, you have to also look for the increase which happened in the total voters. So they are saying that more than 10 lakh voters added to the voters list in 2022. So you're not looking that angle as well. So now in the second phase, the official details from the election commission is 58%, but still there are a lot of people who are outside the polling booth. So final tally of the voting percentage perhaps be out in half an hour or 1 hour, which will perhaps go beyond 65%, around 67, 68%. And today, of course, 93 seats had gone to polls,
Right.
and North Karnataka and North Gujarat and Central Gujarat are the ones where the polling happened, and North Gujarat is something where BJP feels they have challenge even in last time around in 2017.
Absolutely, because
there were
a
18
lot of
seats
those
where
93
victory
seats
and,
that went to polls today many of them are rural seats that has been a challenge for the BJP in the past as well, and that is something that they are hoping to overcome this time around. Sharon, my colleague, also joins us from on ground there. She in fact is in Viramgam, which is urban-rural mix sort of a constituency. You have been speaking to voters all this morning, but what kind of response have you seen at polling booths? Did voters come out in large numbers? Because we're still given to understand that as of 5 p.m., the voter turnout is still below the 60% mark.
Well, the voting has in fact been stopped, but outside the polling booth there is still in fact people in large numbers. There are supporters, especially of Hardik Patel, who are in fact in large numbers. And let me go across to them. अभी आप बोल रहे थे आप पूरा घूमे और क्या पता चला आपको, क्या लग रहा है?
हार्दिक पटेल जिंदाबाद। हार्दिक ही आएगा 25,000 वोट से या 50,000 वोट से हार्दिक भाई की जीत होगी, डेफिनेटली है। पूरे इंडिया को मैं बता रहा हूँ हार्दिक पटेल का विजय होगा। हाईएस्ट लीड से विरमगाम की सीट पे आज तक जितना वोट से डिफरेंस से कोई नहीं जीता है, उतने वोट से हार्दिक जीतेगा।
बोलते हैं कि ये सीट वैसे कांग्रेसी सीट है थोड़ी सी।
नहीं, पहले कांग्रेस की थी। आजकल तो क्या है कि देश का जो विकास है, सबका जो विश्वास है और सब हार्दिक पटेल का जो प्रयास है, उससे हमको बयान हो गया है और हमको कंफर्म हो गया है कि हार्दिक पटेल युवा नेता की तरह से हमारे विस्तार को बहुत प्रोग्रेस करेंगे और डेफिनेटली हमको आगे भी बढ़ाएंगे। सिटी का विकास होगा, विस्तार का भी विकास होगा और समाज कल्याण का।
सिटी और गांव थोड़ा मिक्स्ड है यहाँ पे। हाँ, तो क्या समस्याएं हैं सिटी और मिक्स्ड गांव, सेमी अर्बन की क्या समस्याएं हैं?
अब समस्या तो ऐसी है, लेकिन हम वो वक्त पे चल रहा है कि वो 23 इयर्स का था तब वो ठान लिया था, वो अभी उसने ठान के वो कर दिया, तो अभी तो 28 का वो पूरा युवा है। और इसलिए मैं बोल रहा हूँ कि जो जहाजों से जो टकराए उसको तूफान कहते हैं और जो तूफानों से जो टकराए उसको हार्दिक रूपी जवान कहते हैं। वो थामेगा, वो सक्सेस होकर ही रहेगा।
So clearly these are Hardik Patel supporters who are gathered over here, and they have been saying that they were in fact going from polling booth, each polling booth, and they are finding that it is going to be the BJP that is going to win. Of course, that's the hope
that's the
and
confidence
expectation of
that
the
the BJP is also exuding at this evening, where polls have come to a close. Some polling booths still have some voters, but most of them, polling is over. The last vote has been cast, and the people of Gujarat have decided who they want to be their next government. The results, of course, are going to come out on the 8th. But in a short while from now, we're also going to get you the exit poll numbers. Joining me on this broadcast, GVL Narasimha Rao continues to be with us. Author Rashid Kidwai is also with us. But I want to ask Arshpreet Karyal of the Congress Party. Arshpreet, the BJP believes that Congress is no more an alternative. The Aam Aadmi Party has been campaigning in Gujarat saying that we are the alternative to BJP because we are the only ones that can fight the BJP. The Congress is nowhere to be seen. Up until very recently, we also saw a muted campaign, some would say, as some would call it, from the Congress Party. Many political analysts believe the Congress has given up in Gujarat.
See, one, there's a famous saying, "Jo garaste hain, wo baraste nahi, aur jo baraste hain, wo garaste nahi." First of all, I like to congratulate the people of Gujarat. Now that the Bharatiya Janata Party's 27 years of misrule is coming to an end, and there was massive anti-incumbency against the Bharatiya Janata Party. The Bharatiya Janata Party knew that. That's why they had to put in so much of efforts with regards to campaigning, with regards to rallying. And so much so that they even flouted the norms of the Model Code of Conduct today. If they were confident, they wouldn't have had to do that. This is a clear violation, and I don't understand why the EC hasn't spoken a word on this. Why has no action been taken about this? So the Congress Party will make sure that the people who have violated the law are brought to justice. Number two, with regards to the Aam Aadmi Party, I won't really say much about them because they're not in the picture. They are irrelevant. They are smoke without fire. The people of Gujarat have seen what AAP has done to Punjab. Whatever they touch gets destroyed. So it's not happening in AAP's definitely not happening in Gujarat as far as the Bharatiya Janata Party is concerned. The Bharatiya Janata Party, if 10% of the time that they have been giving to campaigning would have been utilized for work, for development, for welfare. They wouldn't have had to be so worried and concerned and put in so much work 24/7 in only campaigning.
Sure.
So that's why, the Bharatiya Janata Party failed on education, on welfare of, education, employment, Medicare, women empowerment, and because of that, the Bharatiya Janata Party basically was trying to, deflect from the real issues. There wasn't one issue that the Bharatiya Janata Party could talk about that they have done in 27 long years. And number two, Mr. Modi said this, that the Congress Party has a silent campaign going on at the ground level, that they have a massive undercurrent, that they are working at the ground level. So for the people, especially for the Bharatiya Janata Party spokesperson, would he now say that the Prime Minister of India was lying to his own workers? Would he say that the Prime Minister's statement was incorrect there? See, I'll tell you one thing. The Bharatiya Janata Party did not even apologize when Mr. Modi, during his last days of campaign, went to Morbi. There, he did campaign, but nevertheless did not apologize to the Morbi victims for the Morbi tragedy. And as far as, all these opinion polls, exit polls go, let me tell you one thing. Exit polls are not accurate. And I have a little data also for that. When the exit polls went horribly wrong, they went wrong in Lok Sabha 2004, they went wrong in West Bengal 2021, they went wrong in UP election 2017, Bihar election 2020, and many more times. So let's not rely upon exit polls. Let's rely upon the people of Gujarat. And for the people who were saying, where's the Congress Party? The Congress Party was at the ground talking to the people, connecting with the people, not really with the media. And Bharatiya Janata Party's expertise, only expertise, I'd rather say, is with regards to advertising, marketing, campaigning.
Sure, and that campaigning and marketing, GVL Narasimha Rao, the Congress says, was on display even today. The Prime Minister, when he went to cast his vote, he didn't do so as a normal citizen, as an ordinary voter. He did so as a star campaigner of the BJP. Is the allegation the Congress is making. They've even moved the EC over it.
I think the whole world has seen how Prime Minister actually stood along with other voters in his polling booth, and how he voted in a queue. And generally, prime ministers, because of security and other reasons, they're always given a special passage. But this he has not really availed any such. He has not really claimed any such position.
Sure.
He has voted as a normal voter. And the Congress party has a problem with Prime Minister Modi ji because they think every time people see him, they get influenced and they vote in favor of the BJP. So we can't really, we can't give them any relief on this score because our leader is so popular. When he's seen, people really are dying to catch a glimpse of him, both on TV and otherwise.
Sure.
And as far as the Congress party's claims are concerned, and your statement that Congress has not campaigned, Congress has given up on Gujarat, I think that's not the right statement to make. It is Gujarat which has given up on the Congress party.
Right. And I was attributing that to many people,
27
including the Aam Aadmi Party, who were saying that Congress is non-existent. Looks like the Congress has given up. It really wasn't my assessment. That's what a lot of political pundits are also saying. What, of course, the people of Gujarat have decided, we'll find out in 3 days from now, because they have decided, and decisively so, in the two phases.
Exit polls, a friend from the Congress party is saying exit polls are incorrect.
Right. But we've seen that kind of narrative from political pundits as well about exit polls. But I thank you all for joining us here on this broadcast, because we are cutting across to another piece of information that is now coming to the fore. And that is the G20 meeting that the Prime Minister is chairing with heads of all political parties. Around 40 political parties were invited for this particular meeting. There are chief ministers of various states that were also invited. We do see Arvind Kejriwal, Naveen Patnaik, Mamata Banerjee and Jagan Mohan Reddy there among in attendance. Maria Shakil, my colleague, now joins me for more on this. Maria, it is a consensus building exercise by the centre as far as charting out India's G20 strategy is concerned, and all political parties are being taken on board over it.
Yes, that's right. And one earth, one future. You can see the chief ministers of various states, the heads of various political parties present. Home Minister Amit Shah has started briefing this gathering. You can see Sitaram Yechuri present, and other leaders, other chief ministers are all in attendance. This is an important meeting which is happening in the conference hall of the Rashtrapati Bhavan. JP Nadda, Naveen Patnaik, Arvind Kejriwal are all in attendance. Right now, the finance minister is speaking. The idea is very clear that this is about ensuring, just as that it is about cooperative federalism. The idea is about whole of India, that the entire country, all the states have a role to play in ensuring that the message that goes from India is a united one, and it cannot be about political bickering. We can see, External Affairs Minister seated next to the Prime Minister.
Right.
It becomes important because every event will be happening in various states. The first set of events actually begin from the state of Rajasthan, which is a Congress ruled state. So every state has a role to play, and that is the reason why this meeting becomes important.
Absolutely, because it is India as a whole that is on display and the world is watching. Maria Shakil, thank you so much for getting us the latest. We'll keep getting you all the updates from that all-crucial G20 meeting, but all eyes are going to be on the exit polls and who really have Gujarat and Himachal voted for, who has the edge in both those states. We'll get you those numbers on the other side of a quick break. Our coverage begins at 6. Stay tuned.
Conducted at several locations across Kashmir Valley. So the government here is taking this threat very seriously. Right now, as we speak, the Kashmiri Pandits, they are holding a protest in Jammu, though the protest is going on for the past more than 200 days. These are the Kashmiri Pandits who have been working under the Prime Minister's rehabilitation package in Kashmir Valley, and they have been protesting in Jammu for past more than 200 days, ever since the Kashmiri Pandit Rahul Bhatt was gunned down by terrorists inside his Chadura office in Badgam district. So Kashmiri Pandits have been demanding that they should be relocated to safer places. But after this list has been released by the Kashmir Fights, the Kashmiri Pandits now say that it would be really difficult for them to return to Kashmir Valley and work there when they have to work under constant threat of being killed, because the Kashmir Fight blog has in its post has said that these 56 Kashmiri Pandits are on their target, and more such lists would be released in the coming days.
Mr. Sumit Peer, who is a political analyst, is joining us. Mr. Peer, that actually brings us to this next question. Is all of this that's being done in the name of providing securities to the Pandits, is it enough in the valley, considering these threats continue to rear their ugly head every now and then?
Ji, thank you very much for having me on your show. In fact, ma'am, the quantum of threat has increased. Because look, the new Pakistani army chief is ex-ISI and ex-military intelligence. It's a very unique combo. He, along with Nadeem Anjum, the existing ISI chief, remember when Nadeem Anjum came to his job, few Kashmiri Pandits were killed, he ordered targeted killings. I was predicting that the LOC will heat up and the Kashmir Valley will heat up. That is exactly what is the job of this man. Now this Twitter handle, which talks about that originates from POK, the origin of the Twitter handle is from POK, that brings to the conclusion that Pakistan is trying to wage a different quantum of war. Low cost, high targeted killings is what is on their issue, on the radar. And the biggest threat, or the biggest person who carries the highest marks on his back, is a Kashmiri Pandit. With this change scenario, the security of the Kashmiri Pandits in the valley will be very, very tough and challenging. It's better they will be moved to Jammu, to a safer place, because you cannot have 5 or 10 PSOs going around with 5,000 people.
Yes.
Well, that is not practically going to help. And this threat is real this time because there's a new man on the job. And he knows what exactly he is doing. You see, yesterday he chose to visit the Kashmir side of the border, not to the Afghanistan of the border, where a lot of trouble is brewing. And he was talking about Ghazi, Ghazwa-i-Hind, and he's some alim of Quran and some literate of Islamic scholars. And he says he believes he's from a clan which is a direct descendant from Prophet Muhammad. With all these things summing up, and we can see the impact of the new chief on the ground. The situation is not good. I think this threat is real. And if they've come up with the names, even if they're able to strike 1 or 2, that will be not a welcome step at all, and we have to prevent it in any way whatsoever.
Mr. Pandit, do you agree with Mr. Peer, considering we have a new army chief in Pakistan, and that's why this threat, an increased amount, and also the the intensity of the threat has increased? Pretty much what happened in the 1990 is what Mr. Peer is talking about. Do you agree?
The
The threat has always been there, and it is up to them when to open the tap more and when not to. So there may have been different reasons at different times, but we are losing people. We are losing people there because there's a policy paralysis in Delhi. There's a policy paralysis in Kashmir. We have somehow decided to just wait out things and lose the initiative and always hand over the initiative to the adversary. They decide when to step up the killings and when to hold back. That has been the cat and mouse game played so far, and we are just happy losing lives and do nothing about it, just as more than 200 days have passed. The PM package employees have been agitating in Jammu. We have pushed them into a death zone, into a killer zone, from where they barely escaped 30 years ago. So a genocide has not been acknowledged. All the crimes have not been punished.
Kashmiri Pandits are staging a mega protest demanding security after the Lashkar threat to them. And what has happened after this is politics is being played out. However, now filmmaker Vivek Agnihotri, the filmmaker behind the film The Kashmir Files, has jumped into this entire controversy, and he has gone on to say that after the IFFI jury head, the international jury head Nadav Lapid had made those statements at the closing ceremony of IFFI in Goa, is when these fresh threats have actually come about for the Kashmiri Pandits. Now remember, only yesterday a social media handle which claimed to be operated by Lashkar-e-Toiba had issued open threats to Kashmiri Pandits. Preliminary investigation has revealed that the handle is being operated from Pakistan-occupied Kashmir and has released a hit list of 56 Kashmiri Pandit government employees that are on their radar. The terror group also added that those being provided safe houses by the government are on the target.
कल जब एक लिस्ट आई 57 की, उस 57 ने हमें दिलाया है। ये 57 ही नहीं है, इसमें मैं समझू कल को हम पूरे इसमें हो सकते हैं। अभी उन्होंने 57 नहीं डाला, क्या पता कल उसमें मैं भी हूँगा जो लिस्ट में नहीं, कल को मार दिया। हम यहाँ बैठ के गवर्नमेंट से अपनी जान की भीख मांग रहे हैं। हम ये बोलते हैं हमें अटैच किया जाए, अटैच करके जब आपको हालात ठीक होंगे तो हम वापस चले जाएंगे। हम डर रहे हैं, वहाँ पे जान को खतरा है, तो हमारी जान को बख्शा जाए।
यही चीज समझाने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं गवर्नमेंट को 208 दिन से कि यहाँ पे बहुत ज्यादा हम लोग थ्रेट में हैं, हमारा पल पल थ्रेट में गुजर रहा है। हम वहाँ पे नहीं जा सकते, नहीं अपनी सर्विस दे सकते। हाँ, आप लोग क्या चाहते हैं? अब क्या ऐसी चीज आ जाएगी? मैसेकर होने चाहिए क्या? तब आप लोग मानोगे कि वहाँ के हालात खराब है, कश्मीर के हालात खराब हैं।
बड़ा चिंताजनक है। पहले से ही सरकार की तरफ से प्रयास तो किए गए हैं, लेकिन जो टारगेट किलिंग पहले भी होती रही, अब उसको फिर से निशाना बनाने की कोशिश की जा रही है, और खास करके लोगों के नाम देना ये अपने आप में बड़ा शर्मनाक है। तो मुझे लगता है कि बहुत बड़ी कार्रवाई करने की जरूरत है ताकि एक डर का माहौल वहां पर पैदा ना हो। पहले भी कुछ कश्मीरी पंडित को लेकर के उनको टारगेट किलिंग्स की गई हैं, तो मुझे लगता है इन सभी विषयों पर चिंता करना स्वाभाविक बात है और चिंता सरकार द्वारा की जानी चाहिए, सुरक्षा बलों द्वारा कड़े एक्शन लिए जाने चाहिए।
Let's break down the story for our viewers. Now, Lashkar-e-Toiba has released a list of 56 Kashmiri Pandits who are government employees, saying that they are on their possible target. This list, obviously for the Union Territory government, has been put out. This was put out by a social media handle being operated out of Pakistan-occupied Kashmir that released that hit list of 56 Kashmiri Pandits. This is the very, very worrying statistics that we are talking about.
को कट्टर ईमानदार कहते हैं, लेकिन सबसे बड़े भ्रष्टाचारी यही होते हैं।
केजरीवाल कट्टर ईमानदार है।
कितने हैं भाई? क्या आपके रावण के जैसा 100 मुख है? क्या है?
It's the beautiful vista, a dream come true for me, ladies and gentlemen. Namaste, Jai Hind, and of course a big salute to this man who is the Iron Man and because of whom we know India as we do, this generation as we see it on our map. Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, and this is the beautiful Statue of Unity in Kevadia. Once again a tribute to the true son of Gujarat. One son of the soil stands tall over the Narmada, watching over the rest of Bharat. The other son of the soil has a point to prove, and it is Gujarat that has gone to the ballot, that has got to decide this. Phase 2 of polling is coming towards an end. There are still people queuing up at the polling booths. As of now, if you look at the numbers, and we'll try and use Alexa and of course combining virtual with the real feel to try and get you how Gujarat has voted this time around compared to 2017. Now look at it. In phase 1, there was a significant drop, nearly a 3% drop in the overall voted percentage, 66.8 and 63.1, so nearly 4% drop if you were to look at the absolute numbers. 2017 phase 2, the turnout was 70%. That's why the overall voter turnout was 68%. This time around, till about 3 p.m., it is 50.5%. It's gone up to 58%. That's the latest update we are getting. 58% by 5 p.m. Will that breach the 60% number and inch closer to about 65, 67%? We'll have to wait and watch. There was a significant 6% jump between the 5 p.m. numbers and the overall numbers in phase 1. Over to Zaka Jacob and Maria Shakil in the studio as I make my way back. Zaka, will phase 2 see a larger turnout? Will it be closer to 67, 68%? And what does that mean then?
That is going to be the critical question, particularly for the BJP, because for the BJP, it's a question of margins, not just a question of winning the state, but winning it big. Amit Shah said, हमारे सारे जो पुराने रिकॉर्ड है उसको तोड़कर हम वापस आएंगे.